Slaptail Squad, assemble.
This is the Slaptail Squad, and if you don't know who I am, then you're a fucking moron. This is the Beaveman, so obviously if you're listening to this podcast, one would hope that you've listened to it before. I'm here in the Beaver Den. It's a beautiful day. I've been at work, so I didn't really get to enjoy it. I just get to look at it. But I would like to welcome all of you to our wonderful podcast. Welcome to you, those members of my Slaptail Army. And hopefully someday we'll take over the world. And if we do, I would like daily foot massages. I think that's reasonable. With me is my number one, the Ronz.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. Nice job. It was not quite the gusto that I was looking for, but it's fine.
Hey, what's happening out there? Better?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not better.
That
sounds like something just went up your ass. Also with us is the beautiful and, well, not so talented Swan. What's that dirty look for? It's a dirty look
Swan
for.
is very talented.
I'm super talented. I have lots of talents. I'm just not going to share what they are. They're secret talents.
She knows how to patch a hole in a roof or
What?
a ceiling.
No, well, I guess he's right. I patched a hole in the ceiling. Not a roof, the ceiling. But yes, I did.
Not
Some
the ceiling.
drywall action.
Yeah.
I thought you just held up the light.
No, I did most of the work, and I did all the texture and painting.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you this question, Ronz.
Please.
I saw
please
this.
ask.
I saw this picture today on the Instagram, as the children call it, the Instagram,
The Instagram. Okay.
of this young lady wearing a bikini from Sunga Life, where I
Alright.
get my silkies, my nice shorts that I wear, swim trunks that I wear quite often, and she was inverted in the doorway, in a door frame, and was balancing herself in the doorway without using her hands. She was just pushing her leg and her back against the door frame, balancing there. And I asked the Swan, I'm like, hey, can you do that? And she said she thinks so.
I can do it. That girl, I 100% tell you, probably had someone help her get into that position as well, because who the fuck took the picture if they didn't? And I tried it. I can do it right side up, so therefore I should be able to do it upside down as well.
So
Well, yeah, right side up would not be hard at all. You just lean your back against it
it's
and
the
push your
same
foot.
thing, just upside down. And if
I really don't think it's the same thing.
it is. If
I
someone
think it's a little bit
places
harder
you
upside down.
into it,
What makes you think that somebody placed her in it? Your logic is that somebody placed her in it because somebody took a picture. You know, you don't have to have somebody help you into that position based solely on it. So, well, somebody else took the picture, so clearly they helped her into the position. She could have just gotten the position and somebody took the picture.
okay, and maybe she did, but I'm
No,
just
you
saying.
said I'm 100% sure that somebody put her in there.
Well,
You're
maybe they did.
100% sure.
someone had to take the picture. Maybe she
But
did have
that
help.
doesn't mean that 100% that somebody helped her into that position. I'm pretty sure that she can do it fairly easily because if you notice, she wasn't using both legs in the frame either. She was just using one leg to push herself in and to stay in there.
Yeah, that's easier.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, let's just say that the Swan said she could do it, and her attempt at a handstand was pretty amusing.
So I'm trying to
Okay,
find
let's
this
see you do
picture.
it better.
No, but see, that's the point is I didn't say I could do it. That was the whole thing. You said you could do it.
I'm pretty sure I can do it. So,
No, what was really funny is you're like, I'll do it from a headstand. And what did I say? I'm like, okay, go ahead and do it from a headstand. Let's see you push yourself up from a headstand and
I
balance
can.
with your hands.
I can.
Okay, well, you've heard it.
I have.
You hear it, Slaptail Nation. The Swan says, and I'll video it. The Swan says, and this should be great because we'll have her do it in her sungas also because she's wearing her sungas today. She can do it in her sungas, and we'll
I just
videotape
figured
it
out how
and
to
see
do
what
it.
happens.
I'm gonna climb the wall with my feet on the other side, into the handstand, and that's how I'm gonna do it. I just figured it out right now. So I can
no
do it.
idea what you're talking about the position, and don't don't sit there and yell at me because I don't, I don't see the
Like
picture.
an L shape. So she has her back against one side of the wall of the
Okay.
door frame, and
All
then her
right.
feet are on the other side, pushing herself up, and then flip that over. So she's in basically a handstand, and then has her leg holding her up, but then took her hands away in the door frame.
You're making it confusing by saying the whole handstand thing. All she's doing is, Ronz, imagine if you put your back against the door frame and then you put your foot on the opposite door frame and you balance yourself there. Then just flip that person upside down. That's what she was doing.
Like a letter L
Like
in the door,
like an
in
L
the
in the
door
door.
frame.
All right. All right. So my question is, was she naked?
No, she was in a bikini
To
from
you,
Songa Life.
I mean, if there's a hot woman doing this, I figure pretty much she's
Who
naked.
said she was hot, first of all?
I don't know. I figured
Okay,
that's
then
why
you just
anybody would put
assumed,
themselves in a doorway. All right.
Yeah, if you put yourself in the doorway, you're hot.
Yeah, I guess so. That's the way I look at it.
Only hot people put themselves in a doorway.
Yeah. Well, I can't understand why you would put yourself as a door in that way.
Well, many women are basically a doorway.
To what?
If you're from, no. No, I mean, basically a lot of women in this state are the size of a doorway.
And they might have trouble getting through the doorway as it is. So, yeah.
Unless they turn something.
Oh, yeah. We're just going to get probably a lot of hate mail like that.
I seriously doubt it because it's not a new phenomenon. I'm not saying anything that shocks anybody.
So are you saying that some women, when they back up, need beepers?
Probably should.
Yeah, probably should.
Okay.
You remember
right.
that? You remember that Far Side? Remember the one Far Side clip where the lady's putting up the signs that says her dog is missing, and then you see it's stuck in one of her, like in her ass crack. Because
I
she's so
do
big.
believe I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a good percentage of the population in Michigan.
And we're not calling out like anything that you can't just look around and see yourself or statistically know by looking up on the internet that we are, as a society in the United States, obese, like majority, probably
Not
a good
me.
50%. You're
Oh,
not
wow.
ideal
Okay,
body weight.
Let's check and see if you're obese, Ronz. Let's just check.
Oh, now
You
we're
might
No,
not be
go ahead. No,
obese,
go ahead.
but
No, you
he's
said-
overweight. You're
here's
in the
what you said.
overweight category, definitely.
Here's what you said.
Which
You
is
said
sad. It doesn't take much to get into
Fuck
the
up when
overweight
I'm
category.
talking.
Shut up.
I'm just gonna listen to you two bitch about being overweight.
no.
I'm
What?
not overweight.
Never said you were.
Well, you just told me we were going to bitch about being overweight.
Yeah, not you. I mean, can you fit through a door? Of course you can. Yeah, I just know I'm going to hear from somebody. By the way, big shout out to, guess what?
Got to be a big one.
Yeah, it was. I went after Wednesday. I went to a restaurant after at the dojo. We went to a restaurant,
Because
and
you're a martial artist?
I'm going to get to that point.
Okay.
I was sitting around. We were all sitting around, right? A bunch of us, and our waitress came up and says, "You guys come in here every week, just about every week. Are you guys a club or anything?" And a big shout out to Mr. Tim. He knows who he is, and my wife Carrie. They do the hand gesture because I wasn't going to mention it, and that kind of hand gesture of like, "We'll let the Ronz explain what we do." And I said,
What's the hand gesture? What does that mean?
here, yeah, if you can see, it's sort of like you get to explain it, what we do.
They just pointed your hand at you. Their
They
hands
pointed,
at you?
yeah, they're like, "We're gonna let the Ronz explain." I said, "We're a bunch of martial artists," and I'm like, and they were just busting up laughing. So yeah, it came into play. Whereas I'm a martial artist. Okay, so it came into play at the restaurant or the outing I went to.
Now, Ronz, how tall are you?
About 7'3", I think.
7'3".
Yeah.
Or
73
7'3"
inches.
Whoa! Let's not get technical. I'm 5'8".
You're 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
I'm taller
Yes.
than you?
So that
5'8".
is-
No, you're not much taller.
So that's
No, I'm a little
68
taller than you.
inches. So you're 68 inches tall.
Yeah, 5'8"
Okay.
and 3/4 or something like that.
All right.
I
And
might
how
have
much
shrunk.
do you weigh? How much do you weigh?
I don't know at this particular point. I
Give
would
us a
say
random guess.
I would say about 170, 180.
Well, that's kind of a broad range.
You
170
said
to what?
random guess, and I gave you a random guess.
Okay, so we'll say you're 170. How's that? We'll err on the side of the lower
Caution.
number.
I like that.
Okay. So you are overweight, Ronz.
Of course, according to military standards. Actually, in military
Not
standards,
military
I'm
standards,
actually.
it's the World Health Organization.
What do they know?
Well, it's what everybody, we all follow medically. We use the same BMI. We all use the body mass index from the World Health Organization. So you are overweight if you are indeed 170 pounds.
They don't know anything.
That sounds like Trump speaking, or that genius leader of ours. I have a funny story from this week.
By all means.
By all means. So this week, just kind of chilling. I generally work 4 days in a row, and then I have 2 days off, and then I work 3 days in a row, and then I have like 5 days off. So on one of my 5 days off, right? My last 5 day off, we decided we're going to make dinner. We're going to make some tacos because I'm a little brown man.
Yeah.
And we're making the tacos and making homemade tortillas. Got the food going. And the daughter was at practice, volleyball, I think. Volleyball practice. And we asked the boy, Skylar, like, hey, can you go pick up your sister from volleyball practice? Sure, no problem. I'll go do that because we're cooking. And God forbid it's not like he's going to step in and help us cook. So we're cooking, wondering why they're not back yet. The
Sky
Swan
doesn't
gets a
like to
call.
cook?
No. The Swan gets a call, and it's Skylar, and he has a flat tire. Okay, no big deal. Flat tire. Who can't handle a flat tire? So she's talking to him for a while. I'm like, so what's the deal? Does he like need my help or something? Because, how long does it take to change a flat tire? Not long. Not at all. So she doesn't really say anything. I'm assuming that he needs help. And then finally she's like, I guess he needs help. All right. So I hop in the car, drive down the road. I see him. I'm expecting I'm going to get there and he's wrapping shit up. You know what I mean? Like he's all
Okay.
done and maybe he just needs me to follow him because he's riding on a donut. Nope.
Makes sense.
No, he had not even really started.
I was going to go with that. He was sitting in the car waiting, playing the music, waiting for you to get there to do it for him. That was mine. Like, damn, why is it taking so long?
Yeah, why hadn't he started? A flat tire's a flat tire.
Well, he had his jack out, and that was underneath the car. And he had his little, you don't even call them crowbars. They don't look like a crowbar. They're whatever comes with the new cars now.
Okay.
He had that on the lug nut. And so I'm like, okay, so how's it coming along here? He's like, oh, it's coming along fine. I just, I can't loosen up any of the nuts.
All right, so he can't get his nut off, which sounds really sick and demented, but okay. Why couldn't he get the nuts off?
Well, I guess how would you determine that you're doing fine and everything's coming along well if you haven't even been able to loosen the lug nuts? That is
90%
90% of changing the tire would be actually getting the tire off. So so he's like, well, I can't loosen those up. I'm like, all right. So I start jacking the car up a little bit, get it to where the tire's coming up a bit, and then it slips. Why did it slip? Because he had the jack underneath like a little soft part of the car, like where the plastic and rubber is, where it's above the frame. He didn't actually have it locked into the frame, even though it's the jack. The jack is shaped specifically so you can slide it in there. It has a specific area along which you can put the jack itself.
I'm familiar with using a jack.
He didn't even have that lined up. So
wow.
I loosened and took off all the lug nuts, helped him change his tire, put the donut back on, done. Now, the boy, he's bigger than I am. He's got more muscle than me. Why on earth would he have to have his father, who is 47 years old, come and change his tire for him when he is a 22-year-old man?
Well, let's define something here. You are more fit than he is. So, with that said, if those lug nuts are really on hard, you might have had a problem. Now, my son, right, RJ, is an auto mechanic, so he's used to busting, nuts off of cars.
He's used to busting nuts.
I knew this
Poor
was going. Yeah.
RJ.
So he's an auto mechanic, right? So that's going to happen. So if it doesn't work, he knows how to do it.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey. I mean,
well,
isn't that
sometimes
like
no, it's not. It's not like that. Sometimes they are on tight. I mean, if you put them on with a pneumatic, what is a pneumatic wrench? I'm thinking, right? They go on, or a torque wrench. They go on really tight. It's hard to bust the nuts, right?
Okay, let me
then
ask
you just got to put a little ass into it.
Let me ask you this question, Ron.
Yeah, sure.
When did you start driving? 15, 16?
More like 20, 21. I didn't own my first car until I was about 20, 21.
Oh, okay. Well, I started driving at 16. And if I would have had to ask my father to change my tire, I probably would still be hearing about it to this day. And it's not about how strong you are, because I've seen tiny little women change tires no problem. It's about how you apply the force to, and I'm not talking about the force. Oh, that would be awesome if you had the force that you could use to change a tire.
You can lift up the car,
That'd be freaking awesome.
tire.
Yeah, but
you wouldn't even
no,
need a
it's
car
about,
for that matter. You just fly home.
Is it not really truly about physics and how that's applied to loosen the lug nut?
Yes.
More
I've
pressure.
changed my own tire.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen tiny little women change tires no problem. It's about leverage and the force applied and the direction of the force that's applied. So this is what he was doing. He was pulling instead of pushing. So whereas I got behind it and pushed and leveraged my body weight to loosen the lug nuts, which were not on tight.
All right. So in Skylar's defense, did you ever show him how to change a tire? Did you ever once say, you might need this skill one day? Let me show you how to change a tire.
Now,
so the answer would be yes or no.
Oh, the answer is, I actually did say no. What I said was no.
Okay.
And the reason why is this. My father didn't show me how to change a tire either.
Oh, I see.
So
you're going to do this. Dad didn't show me.
When I went to driver's training, they didn't teach us how to change a tire driver's training. They explained it. And they said, this is what they said. Go home and ask your parents if you can change one of their tires and practice so that you know how to do it. For those of you who have never changed a tire before. And that's exactly what I did. I went home and asked my dad, can I change the tire out on the truck? He said, yep, go ahead. So that's how I know how to do it.
Did your dad watch you?
Did he watch me? Fuck no. My father, he didn't give a shit about what I did.
All right, fair enough. But someone,
I did learn how to do it.
Yeah, but someone instructed you in how to do it. Did anybody ever instruct him on how to change a tire?
Nobody instructed me how to change. You tell me you can't intuitively change a tire?
When Carrie bought
we, monkeys? We're not monkeys, Ronz. I think you think that we're dumber than we actually are.
When Carrie bought her first car,
you just made the human race regress.
I did not. No.
3,000 years.
No. When I bought
the concept of changing a tire.
Xanax boy, when Carrie bought her first car right out of college, right? It was a car that she wanted. She went to the dealership and God, they actually had a mini class, a mini tutorial on how to change your fluids, check your fluids, and change your tire. And they're all looking right because I went with her on this, right? They got a bunch of brand new owners for their cars, and we're all sitting there. And they go, "Who wants to change a tire?" And I pushed her forward, and she looked at me like, "Why?" I said, "Well, they're going to show you. I know how to change a tire. I used to do it in the military."
He's lying. He's like, he didn't actually know how to change a tire. He just wanted to see. So we could say
you're right. You're right.
That's how he learned.
You're right.
So what were changing tires on? What? Your like little fueling rigs? What were you changing tires on?
On R9s and R5s. Those are really big refuelers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's say R9 to R5. It was a very big refueler.
It was.
So very nice.
R9 and
Didn't you have someone else to do that job since your job was fueler? Like, don't they have like tire changer?
Actually, yes, they do.
We actually had what we call a checkpoint in the morning, so we would check out the tires, and if we had to change them out, I mean, yeah, we could do them, right? it's sometimes, you might have to do it. So we were taught how to do it. However,
The Swan doesn't understand. There are things that you are allowed to do to the vehicles based on what your job is, and there are things that you are not allowed to do to the vehicles.
I was kidding.
No, I'm just telling you that's how the military is. There are things that even if you know how to do them as a quote civilian, you're not allowed to do them on military vehicles. There are things that they allow you to do.
Yeah, I work for the government. They told me if I moved my chair, I'd be in trouble. So
that's true.
I get it.
So we also had what's called a rodeo where we went to a competition and we did.
Sounds kinky.
Yeah, it could be. But, we did maintenance on trucks real quick, tire changing, backing up a couple of how to drive, like a driver's course. And however, when you get to the real world, right, a lot of people these days have whatever, so take a drink, don't have the knowledge to change a tire. Some people do, some people don't. So what happened when Carrie got her brand new car, or I should say her used car, they offered a course. I pushed her forward. She looked at me, why are you doing that? Everybody looked at me. I'm like, I know how to change a tire. She doesn't, or at least she has some basic knowledge, but here, expand on that knowledge. So, these days, a lot of people don't know how to change a tire. They call service, right? And yeah, you're right. The jacks, right, take a drink, have changed since I was a kid, you were a kid. Do you remember the old front bumper jacks?
Oh, yeah.
But they have instructions right on them.
Yeah, those were the most dangerous fucking jacks around.
Fucking awesome jacks.
Yeah,
the jacks now suck ass, but the jacks back then were fucking sweet. They didn't take up a lot of room, and they were kind of
no, they didn't. But if that slipped, you were crushed like hell.
Still, though, awesome jacks. I mean, you could jack up pretty much anything with those things. They're much better than this piece of crap they have now. Anyway, the point is the
the
Ronz has basically said that we're all morons and we shouldn't be able to intuitively know how to change a fucking tire.
I did not. I said most people don't know how to change a tire. And if you've never sat down with him and showed him like a man how to change a tire, don't blame him. Blame yourself.
No, I don't think so. There's plenty of things that I have not taught my son that he should know on his own. Why should I coddle him and teach him every fucking thing?
I didn't say everything.
My father didn't teach me anything. What the fuck did he teach me? Nothing. When my dad used to work on the car or work on different things, I would try to learn what he was doing. And instead of telling me what he was doing, all he would ever do was tell me to hold the light. That's all he ever did. Didn't show me anything, didn't teach me anything.
Dr. Phil show. So what you're saying is when you hold the light, did you hold it properly to get that pleasing comment out of your father?
No, fuck him. I always dropped the light down because that's all he ever fucking showed me. He showed my older brother everything. He didn't show me shit. It was always hold the fucking light. And you're like, fuck you.
So you didn't watch what he was doing.
Lights.
You didn't watch what he was doing.
He's got hanging lights. Let him fucking hold his own goddamn light.
Wait a minute. So you didn't watch what he was doing. That would have been the clue.
No. When somebody's taking apart an engine or taking apart a carburetor, you can't just watch them. You kind of have to know how they work, what they do. You have to have some sort of.
Did you ask questions?
Yeah, motherfucker. I just told you that.
No,
and all you asked was say, hold the fucking light. Which part didn't you understand? You're not fucking listening, as usual.
All right. You're just rambling on. But I understand where you're coming from, too. I heard a mute mic. What's going on?
Okay, well, whatever. Once again, the Ronz doesn't understand what I'm saying. But this is the third podcast now that once again, I'm going to ask Ronz the same fucking question I've asked him the last two fucking podcasts. And let's see if he actually answers the question this time because he avoided it multiple times. This is the last podcast. Once again, Ronz, can you do the military job description of your job that you did in the military?
You had plenty of time to prepare. Just read it verbatim, word for word from the internet. Google it.
I did. And I think I read it last time, but if I didn't.
No, you didn't. Listen to the podcast. We kept asking you, and all you would do was start telling a different story.
Well, maybe because it's Black Ops. Did you not listen to the back?
That's clearly what it was.
So the other thing is you sent me an Instagram. And by the way, you looked pretty stoked that you could actually do dips. Was I supposed to post that in all your glory?
What? What are you talking about?
It wasn't dips anyway. It was pull-ups, you Riri.
Riri. Oh, now we're insulting me.
You
All right.
know I
I'll
love
tell
you,
you what.
Ron.
Yeah, I know. I will pull that up because I asked if you want me to post it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't send it to you for you to look at me. That's not why I sent it, but that's fine.
Then what the hell am I supposed to do? Wait a minute. The Beaveman sent me something. Cover my eyes. I don't get that. Okay.
And what was your point? Clearly, since you don't understand the difference between a dip and a pull-up.
I don't, but you did
They
it in
didn't
honor.
have to do those in the Air Force.
We didn't. We were
Oh,
smart
and
enough not to.
let me bitch about something else. When I say, and I think I brought this up before you post something on Facebook or Instagram, would it be possible for your wife to look at it and correct it for any grammatical errors that you might have?
Yeah, it might be. It might be. I can do that. I've done that before too.
And also, let me say this. If I make a tribute, see, here's the thing, podcast listeners. When you see something posted, don't automatically think in your head that I'm the one posting it because the Ronz speaks for the Slaptail Squad also. So
Well, I
you see the stuff that he posts, it's
speak
not necessarily
for us
the Beaveman saying it. So you can't necessarily think that that's me talking. But when I post something or when I say the podcast, I'm so glad to commemorate this as being the podcast is released on National Airborne Day, and you compliment every motherfucker who isn't airborne, that fucking pisses me off. That was not my intention. So listeners, I was specifically talking about the airborne, but Ron somehow always likes to say everybody's just as important. The day is National Airborne Day. That doesn't mean thank every other motherfucker.
Wow, you are just pissed off at the world today.
I'm not pissed off at the world. I'm saying that that's the point. I'm like, it's National Airborne Day. Why are you saying, and thanks to Joe Bob Billy Fuckface, who served hash in the United States Navy and was not airborne. Thanks for everything you do today, too, even though it's National Airborne Day.
Everybody gets a trophy. Right, Ronz?
I think so. So here it is. It's kind of going through it, but I'll read it off as it shows back up.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yay, let's go. All right. Go ahead, Ron. In all your glory, in all your Black Ops glory, please go. I'm so excited. Go ahead.
Okay. Here it comes. It's going to start over here. And maintain and operate fuels and cryogenics facility and equipment. Receive, store, and issue petroleum products purchased for use in Air Force vehicles, aircraft, and support equipment. Refuel aircraft with various types of mobile refueling equipment. Responsible for the fuels control center where all requests for fuel are received. Conduct preventive maintenance inspections on the fuels vehicle fleet. And the final one, maintain bulk storage facility where millions of gallons of fuels are stored. Now, that's just your basic definition. That's what it says.
I feel like there's a lot of use of the word fuel in that.
Yeah, it's fuels. What would you think?
Yes, it is. You know, when you said that, all I could think in my head was,
it's not airborne.
Propane and propane accessories. I'll sell propane accessories.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people think like that. I think they do.
Well, thank you for finally doing that definition. I'm so very happy. What was your excuse for not fucking doing that the past two podcasts, even though we kept asking you to do it?
I kept on trying to interject, and you guys would just, it just went off. Well, blame me. What the hell? You know what? It's my fault.
I mean, who else would complain? I mean, you are the one that we asked to do that.
Yeah,
It's
and
about
what
time
I
you
did,
owned it over there.
Once again, an excuse.
Yeah, which brings us to the topic of dumb excuses and justification for what people do, right? So
Good
I
segue, Ronz. Good
Yeah,
job.
thank
For
you.
once, he
You don't
segued in
understand.
there.
What you don't understand is I set him up for that segue.
yeah. Let's not give credit where
Stop.
credit's
Let him
due.
have a little credit.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not airborne. I will never be as badass as him, right? And we've already determined that, right? And a big shout out to him anyway.
You're all badass in your own way.
I think-
You got a medal for not losing any buttons.
Yeah,
On
by
once
the way,
again, let me go ahead and shout out to Mary Elizabeth for all of her hard work when she was doing maintenance on Humvees back in 1994.
I have no
And
idea
Fort
what
Hood,
this is.
Texas. Thank you for all you did. You're just as important as those combat soldiers who took Iraq. Thank you.
All right. What was that about?
No, I'm just doing what you do. You're like, and everybody just has the same. They're all doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, I think you should give recognition to those who deserve it,
Especially if they don't lose their buttons.
especially. And by the way, I caught hell for that too. When I was at the dojo, Tim came up to me, and we
How many times can you work in dojo into a general?
I can, because this
I
is
just
where it
wanted to-
happened. As I'm working out or practicing, it's like, so we know how to defeat the Ronz, camouflage netting. I went, what? It's like, yeah. So your cult following, right, has expanded. Not only that, and then my wife, who was working out with me, laughed. It's like, well, that's how you're going to defeat the Ronz, right? Camouflage netting. It'll take
Well,
them down.
I guess it's a good thing that you don't have buttons on your dogi.
I was gonna say, how long did it take you to learn to tie your belt since there was no buttons for it?
Oh, well, since there are no buttons, you don't tie anything with a button. You just button it, hence the name button. But that's the way it goes.
Exactly. So how long did it take you to learn to tie your belt?
About 5 or 6 years, I think. No, I knew how to tie it right away.
But you know how to tie it the Korean way. How long did it take you to do it the Okinawan way?
You know, it's pretty similar, but a little bit. It really did, right?
I think he still does it wrong. I love you, Ronz.
Thank you, Swan. Yeah, you know, there are different ways. I've seen it done so many different ways, and of course, some people have explained just tie the damn belt, just make sure it's on correctly.
Well, yeah, I remember one time we were doing jujitsu, and this was back when we could go to the dojo, and karate was already kind of going on. The children's class was wrapping up, and we were starting our class. We have to walk past the karate floor to get to our floor, and we're sitting there, and I was already over there, and one of our black belts, he was walking across, and he looks all confused, and he came over and was standing with us, and he's looking at his belt, and he's like, what the? It's like one of those fucking karate kids just told me my belt was wrong. And he's like, so I'm looking at my belt, thinking, getting into my head about it, saying, oh, what the fuck is wrong with my belt? And then I realized, fuck that kid. I should have kicked his ass across the freaking floor. I'm like, that's what I'd have done. I'd have boot kicked that fucking kid across the floor. I'm like, fuck you, you little bitch. Don't tell me how to tie my belt.
Did I give you permission to talk to me? I'm a black belt.
Not even that. I'm like, did I give you permission to talk to me? I'm a fucking adult. Shut your little kid mouth hole.
Your little kid mouth
Well,
hole.
did you have your belt tied wrong?
It wasn't him, dummy.
Well,
Yeah.
Another person. You missed that part of the story.
No, I just asked him if he had his belt tied wrong.
We don't say that your belt is wrong.
I'm sorry. What do you say?
We don't. You know how many ways there is to tie the belt?
How many? Just
A bunch.
interested. How many?
There's a
A
bunch.
bunch.
Yeah,
How much
and you
is a
don't have.
bunch?
Some people insist that the top of the fortune cookie points to the left. Some say it points to the right. Some say that the belt should be positioned so that the
Fortune
knot
cookie.
has the
knot.
The ends are up at the top, and some say that it should drape down. So there's lots of different ways to tie the belt. And it depends. Some styles insist you must tie it this way. Our style doesn't. They're like, tie it so your fucking pants stay up. I guarantee you that most of the people, how they tie their belts, don't tie it like I tie it.
Okay.
So you
sounds
could
okay.
see it. And what don't you understand about the fortune cookie? What don't you understand about that?
I've
You know,
never heard.
the knot looks like a fortune cookie. That's one of the
No.
ways they also teach people too. They're like, okay, the tip of the fortune cookie points to the left, or the tip of the fortune cookie points to the right.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never called it a fortune cookie. I called it a
That's
belt because that's
No,
what
The
the
knot.
knot, you dumb fuck.
the knot. I just called it a knot.
Ugh.
I just tie my belt, and if the knot's not good, if the
knot's
knot's
not
good,
what?
yeah, no, if it's good. So, I guess
So let's hear your best excuse, Ronz,
for what?
for anything.
I tend not to try and make excuses.
Everybody makes
I guess that would be an
excuses. There's an
excuse.
excuse right there. Exactly.
So, okay, so here's something on my radar right now for excuses. And this is what really got me. I think we were talking about this before we got everything kind of situated with the recording, was the Act of 1945, the Governor's State 1945 Act. It's called the Michigan Legislature Act 302 of 1945, authorizing the governor to proclaim a state of emergency and to prescribe the powers and duties of the governor with respect thereto and to prescribe penalties. Proclaiming a state of emergency of orders, rules, and regulations, and seizures of firearms, ammunition, of other weapons. A little beyond that, but I don't think it's gotten to that. But it's gone to the point where now
What the fuck does this have to do with excuses?
I'm getting there if you'd freaking let me talk about it. Now, everywhere we go, people are saying don't wear a mask, right? And they're trying to get this repealed, this act repealed, because they think our governor has stepped over the grounds of proclaiming a state of emergency with the COVID, right? And honestly, wherever I go, I would rather wear a mask than wind up in a fucking hospital bed. And everybody's saying it's not needed. And I don't know. I mean, I've had a couple of COVID scares from family members and friends, and I would rather see the mask enacted versus not enacted. So all these excuses like we don't need it until we need it, right? And it's kind of one of those things, it's a drain on society, but I don't see the point of trying to repeal this act because it's there for the people. And the other thing is we need to reopen gyms. Get your fat ass out there and run, right? Because these people need the gym open or whatever.
I would like to know how many times those people went to the gym before COVID, and now that they can't go, they're all pissed off about it. Okay, let me check your gym membership and see how many times you actually went, because I know plenty of people that pay for a gym membership and haven't stepped inside the gym for frickin' 2 years.
Now, if you give me a membership to a donut place, I'll step in there every day if I have to.
That would be one respect.
It would be.
Wow, however, that's a really so what was your excuse now? What is the excuse that you don't like? That people think that their liberties are infringed upon because they have to wear a mask?
Yeah, exactly. There has been no order of ammunition or firearms or other weapons. They just have to wear a damn mask into a store to survive. That's it. I don't think the governor has overstepped her boundaries, or at least that I've seen, other than you have to wear a mask. But these people are making all sorts of dumb excuses, right, for why they don't want to wear a mask. And
well, I had somebody ask me, I walked into a room, and people ask me this all the time. They're like, well, do you want me to put on my mask? Like, so as soon as they get to the room, they take their mask off. So I walk in, their mask isn't on, and people say, oh, do you want me to put my mask on? And I always say, well, yes, please put your mask on. And then I've had a couple people recently ask me, well, why do I need to put my mask on if you have a mask on? To which I respond, well, because that will increase the chances of not transmitting anything between us, for one thing. The other thing is, if you don't wear a mask, we're talking. I talk to you for a good 10 minutes. You're talking, you're expectorating droplets into the air. It's been shown that it stays in the air for 4 hours. Let's say that you do have an infection. My next person comes in and they're not sick, and your droplets are lingering in the air because you didn't wear a fucking mask.
Can't you just use the excuse that they're just damn ugly and you don't want to see them?
I mean, you could.
You could, but I'm sure that, patients already are mad about having to wear it. So if I say it's because they're ugly, they probably might get a little bit more mad. The point is, I don't understand why humanity feels like they don't have any reason to protect each other. This point in time where everybody's bitching about their personal freedoms, it's all me. There's no interest in humanity right now. Everybody's all about for themselves. Like, well, I don't want to wear a mask because I shouldn't fucking have to because it's an infringement on my personal rights. So what you're saying is you don't care about anybody else but you. It's always been one of those things. Even when before all this happened, when people would get the flu and you classically have the flu, and people would say, well, why are you making me stay home from work? I'm like, well, because you have the flu.
On
I
that note
understand
there,
that you're sick. Why are you, nobody that you work with has the power to do anything to protect themselves if you decide you're going to go to work when you have the flu, which is a communicable condition that
I
can get
understand
someone
that.
sick.
But with that said, though, and this is not to do with the mask, but some people need to go to work because if they don't go to work, they can't survive. Unfortunately, we don't have a system in place to help people out like that. Some people need
No,
that paycheck.
that's the issue. That's the point, though. So but you're still endangering other people. So you've decided that it's more important for you to work than it is to protect other people who have no
No,
choice. No, listen to what the fuck I'm saying. And this is the
no,
fucking problem.
it's
No, listen to what I'm saying. You are now taking away the protection of another person who has no control over what you have done. So you're exposing other people based on your own selfishness. That's
some.
the point I'm making.
I understand that point, but some people need to work in order to get a paycheck because they don't get that paycheck,
You're
right?
saying
They
so you're
can't
saying
survive.
it's okay to endanger other people based on your need for your paycheck. That's what you're saying. You can't take
To feed my family, yeah, right.
okay, so you just, and that's why I say that is criminal conduct. That would be no different from somebody arresting somebody who has positive HIV who just spit in somebody's mouth or in their face. How is that
Wow,
any different? You
I didn't go that
decided
route.
that you were going to basically perform assault on the people that you work with because it's more important for you to get to work than it is for you to protect everybody else around you. You're already sick. I don't take people off of work because I'm so fucking worried about their health. I take people off of work to stop the spread of a condition. When you do that, you are intentionally endangering other people. Regardless of what your motive is, you are intentionally endangering other people. And you watch. People think that their freedoms are infringed upon now. Watch when they start to say, in the future, we become like China and stuff, when they say, okay, well, this virus isn't going away and no one will let us mandate vaccines and mandate you to have vaccines. Well, that's fine. But you can't come into our store unless you're immune to the coronavirus because you've had it in the past or you've had vaccinations. Watch that happen and then watch everybody's head fucking explode.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, but people don't vaccinate themselves as it is right now. People aren't vaccinating their children against their normal kindergarten vaccines or getting a flu shot. You think we're going to force people or try to force people to get a coronavirus vaccine?
So it brings me to a good point. Well, what about the anti-vaxxers out there, right? Who say, "Oh, we don't need vaccines," versus,
Well, that's another excuse. I mean, that's another dumb fucking excuse. I was hoping to talk about fun excuses, but you guys wanted to get all fucking serious.
I didn't do it. It was Ronz.
Here's what I saw: a funny post. God bless her, from my niece, and I don't think she listens to the podcast. But let me make a funny. This is what she posted. She put, "When you can tell me one ingredient in a vaccine, then I'll give it to my kid." That was her post. It was one of those gifts or whatever. I was like, well, I can tell you lots of ingredients in it. So does that mean you're going to give them to your kid? I mean, I can meet that challenge if you want. It's a stupid thing to do. It's a stupid thing to say because it's pretty easy to do. What I wanted to respond to it, I wanted to be a dick and say, okay, well, I for sure know that you drink. I've seen you drink pop. Can you tell me the ingredients in your pop? You put that in your body on a more regular basis than you put a vaccine in your body. And that's not benefiting you in any way whatsoever. Doesn't even hydrate you. Give me a stupid fucking excuse that's enjoyable to fucking and fun to talk about.
Okay, so go ahead, Ronz.
I was going to say I had one this week.
Okay,
I actually told I was too dramatic because I had a telemarketer call, and I said, as an excuse to get off the phone, "Hi, you're on the air. Welcome to the podcast." What? Yeah. Hey, you're going to be on the air. I need to know your name. We're going to announce who you are, and we're going to talk. So tell me how your day is on the other side of this phone. What? We're on the Slaptail Nation. We do the Slaptail podcast. Listen for us. You're going to be on the air. We're going to mention your name. And they go, "You have too much drama in your life." And they hung up. And I'm like, oh.
Okay, where was the excuse in that? I'm just curious. What was
his
my
podcast
excuse.
was his excuse to get the telemarketer off the phone.
Exactly.
I guess.
But how is that an excuse?
It worked.
Well, I don't know.
I haven't heard that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Why is it that
So-
nobody understands what an excuse is? Okay, how about this? I ask you this. Why on earth is it that you can put clothes in the washer, but you can't put them in the dryer and you can't hang them up? What stupid excuse would you give me for that? Here's a situation. What's the excuse for what you've done or how you think or what you do? That's what an excuse is. I can't believe I have to explain what an excuse is.
Well, I don't like that portion of doing the laundry. I like the putting it in the washer and putting it in the dryer. The folding apart is way too much work.
I guess
But
that's
my
okay.
arms-
I
that
really
wasn't
wasn't
an
asking. I was
excuse.
just trying to explain
Yes,
what an
I get
excuse is. This was
I-
Swan's idea. I have
This
yet
is
to
my
hear
idea.
Swan tell
So,
me what
okay,
her
so,
great idea of a fucking
I-
fucked up excuse is.
I just think it's like an excuse. Okay, so like we had a nurse who calls in almost every Friday or every Monday and uses the excuse that she had a migraine. So you have a freaking migraine every Friday and Monday. So I'm like, oh, it's her Friday migraine. Like, so excuses to call into work.
Maybe
or
she doesn't like your
excuses-
perfume.
Maybe not. But only on Fridays and Mondays. That seems rather convenient. Or when people call you and ask you to do something, like, Ronz, do you want to come over? I'm moving next Saturday. Or, oh, Ron, I'm moving soon. And now you give me an excuse of why you can't help me before you even know when I'm fucking moving. Like, oh, I can't come because my pool's on fire. Or I can't come because my grandma died and we're going to the funeral. Well, I'm pretty sure your fucking grandma died like 2 times already because you used that excuse like 2 times ago.
I
So
guess.
how many grandmas do you have, Ronz?
Oh, let's not go down this damn road.
Well, oh, wait. You got a lot of grandmas. I
Ronz
forgot.
has multiple grandmas.
Your family tree is a little convoluted. I forgot.
Convoluted.
It's better than having a straight family tree.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
Well, what I would say is, as we get older, we lose the ability to deal with stupid excuses, so we just tell the truth, right? Now, some of us, at least most of the adults I deal with, tell the truth. It's like, what's going on? Well, this is really what's happening, and since I did a lot of volunteering in the community, I told the truth.
Every time. Did you know Ronz volunteers in the community also?
He does.
He does.
So I didn't make
So
excuses.
Ron doesn't give excuses. He tells the truth. That's
No.
kind of boring.
Well, I try to tell the truth. I really do. I
Sometimes
try not
it's
to.
blatantly honest and almost embarrassing, but Ron tells the truth. I couldn't
try.
help you last week because I had explosive diarrhea. I mean, that's an excuse.
Well,
but
then
it was
I
the
would make.
truth.
You know what? I probably wouldn't say that, but I've had explosive diarrhea. So what do? You don't come out and tell people that because they
Why
all.
wouldn't you?
Why not?
Why wouldn't you
I mean,
tell them
that's a
that?
more valid excuse
a-
for not
that's a
helping
valid
me move,
excuse.
Ron.
Because I know
Diarrhea is a
what.
bad word. Can't say
No,
diarrhea.
I just know the excuses or the razzing I would get for explosive diarrhea. It's
I
like,
would take that as an
No,
excuse.
I think
to
that's
not
a
help me
good
move.
excuse.
That's totally valid.
Who
versus-
who can't relate to having explosive diarrhea?
I don't know. I mean, how often does it happen?
That's
I
not
mean-
the
I mean,
point.
that's
The
not the
point is,
point, but
the
that would
point
be a
is
good
that.
excuse.
Oh my God, I can't even fucking talk.
Sorry.
Every time I start to talk, you just talk way the fuck over me.
Oh, gee, I wouldn't know what that fucking's like, huh? Jeez, right? So, by the way, I've got my little notepad on, and you tell what it tells me not to say. Not to say that bad word because everybody expects me to say that bad word so you can yell at me. So I haven't said that bad word yet.
Hmm.
The one where you put the turkey gobbles in there?
All right, my point is this. Who hasn't experienced explosive diarrhea? Therefore, they can relate to what you're saying. Here's what I used to do back when I actually had friends, which was a long time ago and I don't have any now. When I was an ER nurse, this is what I used to do. People would come up to me like, hey, Beaveman. See how I did that?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, we're all planning on going for, drinks. Or we're having a party. And I would say immediately, I'm busy that day. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they come back and they're like, well, I didn't say what day it was.
I did
And I
tell
said,
him.
yeah, I know. They're like, well, then how do you know you're busy that day? I'm like, oh, I don't.
I did tell an excuse one time though.
Oh, only once.
Well, no,
Only
it
one
was
time when Ron's had an excuse.
it was more or less to get my ass out of trouble. I just landed over in England, and I'd forgotten about the time change and all the requirements that were to do that you needed to check in. And when you were on base and on break for more than 3 days, you have to check in every 3 days to tell them that you're okay. I didn't know. I'd forgotten that. And there was a time change. So I know it taught me about jet lag, right? So when you went over to a different continent,
So your dad never pulled you aside and taught you about jet lag?
my
I
dad
mean,
was
that's a
dead.
feeling. You know
My
what?
dad was dead by the time I was 11,
Okay,
and I was
but
living with my
up
mom.
until that time, your
I
dad never
didn't.
pulled you aside and talked to you
My
about jet lag?
I didn't live with my dad.
That's not what I asked you. So up until the age of 11, your father never pulled you aside and talked to you about
You
jet
mean
lag?
the age of 6 when he left?
Look at all these excuses the Ronz has.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like that was a failure on his part that he didn't talk to you about jet lag because, as we all know, the only way that you would have ever known about jet lag would have been had that been discussed with you by your family or your parent at that time. So I'm sorry, Ron, that no one ever talked to you about jet lag and you were not aware of what that was. I feel like that's a
No.
failure. That's a failure on somebody's part.
Okay, so what was your excuse?
Well, when I was addressed at this point, the sergeant found me. He says, I can't find him. And I was actually in the day room sitting down or somewhere in the facilities. And he says, he found me. He's like, you got to check in every 3 days, right? It was during that transition of Christmas time and Thanksgiving. And I didn't realize that. So I looked at my watch. And I'm like, oh, I'm still on American time. I'm sorry. So it's like, okay.
This
'Cause
is
they
the most
thought
boring fucking story I've ever heard
Well,
about.
it got me out of trouble. I didn't realize that.
Are you saying that between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you guys didn't have to work?
No, I didn't say that.
So then what is this whole thing about every 3 days you got to check in? What the fuck is that about?
If there was
Did you
a
not work every fucking day?
you didn't listen to the damn story. I just checked into
It
that
was
base.
so fucking boring. I tuned out. All
Okay,
I wanted was
fair
some
enough.
funny fucking
You had
excuses.
jet lag.
Yeah,
from
you
the
know what?
story.
I had
Because the
explosive.
Swan said that she wanted to do a podcast about the stupid excuses she heard, but she's talked about 2 of them and said she was going to prep this whole thing, but yet I've yet to hear any interesting excuses. Here's
Okay.
my favorite excuse.
Well, I'll give you one personal one, another one that's personal.
No,
I
you're
just
done.
realized, no,
No,
I just
no,
realized
your
why my
excuses are
wife,
fucking
my
boring.
wife
Let me
was,
do what-
she was
what-
babying me recently. She was just trying to tell me to take it easy. I just realized her dad passed away from a heart attack at 55, and I'm at that age, and I'm like, I didn't realize she was trying to make sure I'm eating healthier. She's trying to swap out all the bad foods I like, and I'm like,
you know that your wife's father is not related to you, right?
however,
I just
I'm
want to
here
make
from
sure that
Kentucky.
you know that and that she knows that and the listening audience knows that, because just because her father passed away at 55 doesn't mean that you
I
are at
agree
higher
with
risk.
that.
You're not genetically
agree.
related in any way.
Unless you're the royal family. But I agree with that. Right. And I said, why didn't you just come out and tell me that? Why didn't you just tell me that, this is what happened? And it's like, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings or anything like that. But you're gonna starve me to death from all my good food that I like? Please don't. Right? Just come out and tell me. Don't give me an excuse. Don't starve me. I like potato chips. Right? I like ice cream. Right? Would you do that, Swan? Would you do that to the Beaveman?
Yes, that's right. He does.
He doesn't want to fit through the door.
I do not. I can always widen the doors.
All right, let me ask you this question. Let's say that you continue to eat your potato chips and your ice cream, and you get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then one day you say to me, hey, you know what? My joints are starting to hurt. My knees are starting to hurt. My ankles kind of hurt. And I actually get kind of tired, short of breath, just tying my shoes when I bend down to tie my shoes. And you're telling me all this, and I'm like, okay, well, you look fatter than you were a year ago.
So first of all, you have
I'm
me
not done.
bent
I'm
over
not
in front
fucking
of
done.
you. So why would you have me bent over in front of you?
That's not what I said. I said you said you get short of breath, time
And
bending.
you gave the
tie your
scenario
shoe.
where I'm trying to bend over
That's
short of
not what I
breath.
said.
I mean, you tell me what that sounds like.
It sounds
Jeez.
like you didn't listen to the story. And so
Anyway,
you're telling me all this stuff, and I say, okay, yeah, but you look like you've gained about 20 pounds in the past year, and you told me that you eat potato chips and ice cream all the time. Don't you think that it's probably because you're stuffing your fat fucking face that you're having all your joints hurt more and that you get short of breath tying your shoes? And you say to me, oh, it's not because of that.
no, it wouldn't
It's
be.
not because of the food that I'm eating or the weight I'm gaining. It has to be something else.
It
That's
has to
why
be.
my
Like
It
what?
has
Like
to.
what could it be then?
COVID in the air.
No.
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 or
So-
people who would say to me, you know what? I feel tired all the time and I feel short of breath all the time and I just don't feel good. I always feel run down. I'm like, yeah, don't you smoke like a pack of cigarettes a day? Well, it's not from that.
It's probably my thyroid. That's my favorite excuse that people use. I think I need my thyroid checked.
So what is
on the
you
grand
know,
scheme of things, I think you need a lot more than just your thyroid checked. But
So-
okay.
you guys work in the medical field.
I'm
What's
not
the
even talking about the medical.
no, hear me out. Hear me out.
Listen, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about people that I've known over the years that will say these things to me. And I'm like, wait a minute, intuitively, don't you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day and you're wondering why you're short of breath and you cough? Or why
Well,
your
that's what I was
bones and
leading up
joints
to.
and
What's the
everything
worst
hurt?
excuses that you've heard in the medical field?
I don't want to talk about the excuses in the medical field. I'm talking about those are super stupid excuses. I'm
Like
trying
what?
not to talk about the medical. No, you're missing
What
my
do you-
point. I said I don't want to talk about. I'm talking about just day-to-day conversations. Erase from your thoughts that I'm in the medical field. I'm talking about what normal people tell me and say to me. Well, as a normal person, I can look at them and intuitively and say, dude, you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. Why do you think you're short of breath when you exercise or when you attempt to exercise or when you walk to the mailbox? Why do you think you're short of breath? And people go, well, it's not from that. It's got to be something else.
I'm pretty open. I have a pretty open book and policy when it comes to dealing with people. If they don't want to tell me, they won't tell me, but I don't expect to hear an excuse on anything. Pretty much people are pretty direct with me, right? If they can't do something, it's because they can't. Now, I've only had to deal with one excuse that the person left out of when I was
This
training.
has got to be a dojo story. I'm guessing this is a dojo story, isn't it? You're about to tell a dojo story. You
I'll leave
are.
that-
You are. That's what you're doing. Everything has to go back to that, isn't it? Do
He has
you
a
feel
big grin
like-
on
is
his
this what-
face.
Is this what you feel like? Is this what defines you, Ronz? Is this what defines you?
Ron is a martial artist, so
I
it
am.
must. Okay, go ahead, Ron. Tell us your story, but make it quick.
No, I was training one guy, and he neglected to tell me that he had
Who was
had
training you? So you were training a guy. Who was training you?
I was
And who
coaching him.
training-
he neglected to tell me that he had a spinal fusion or something like that, and he thought he could handle the pain. Right? And I felt bad because the person had to go sit down, plain and simple. And he didn't want to tell me because he thought he could handle it. And I felt bad for him because here I thought I'd caused something. We're just doing what we call hand switches. That's it. And
Well, let me get this straight. You were training a guy.
coaching a person, right?
We're training a guy, and he had to sit down because you were hurting his back because you were doing some stuff with some hand switches while you were training this guy.
He couldn't stand for
Who
long
was
periods of
training
time.
you? So he couldn't stand the training you were doing on him. Is that what you're saying?
You
That's-
are just
that's-
a hell of a politician today, Beaveman. You are.
I'm just saying what you said. You said you were training some dude, and I
Hold on.
asked
You're not
specifically-
listening.
what I asked you specifically was who was training you and who was training that person. Was there high fives involved? And you said something about hand switches, and you were hurting the guy's back because you were training him.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. It's like you can do that. Hold on. It's
Okay,
like
let's hear yours.
so there's your right there. It's like so no, I just felt bad that as I was training him, he didn't tell me about this, and his excuse was I didn't think it would bother me at the time. So he had to go sit down. So when someone neglects to tell me something and makes an excuse of, hey, it won't bother me, and it does, I feel really bad for them.
I just
So,
don't. Okay, here's what I don't understand.
okay.
And let me bitch about this. I've bitched about it before.
So
If
bitch away.
I will. Why would you take karate if your back bothers you and you have a fusion and you don't think you can handle it? Did you take karate before you injured your back? Were you interested in taking karate before you injured your back? I have this. Here's what I fully, truly believe is that people had no intention of doing all these things until they injured themselves. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I want to go try this thing that you know you fully can't do. You had no interest in doing it before. It's like the whole, will I be able to play the piano? Oh my God, did you fucking play it before? No. Did you have any interest in playing it before? No. Then now when you've broken your hands, why are you interested in playing the piano?
Some people are like that. They do have an
do yoga. Do fucking swimming. Why do you want to do a sport?
I can't do swimming with broken hands.
I want to do a class that everybody has to alter what they do for you.
We didn't alter anything. We didn't alter anything for them. How many people have come to your side and have had injuries and you guys have worked with them?
No, I haven't.
Well, yeah.
If I was all powerful sensei ruler, I would say, okay, let me tell you what we're going to do. If you're so limited that you can't do it, karate will gladly accommodate you. And if you're going to sit here and bitch to me about how we have to alter the sport for you and do all these different fucking things for you so that you can do your very bare minimum, then go bitch to my good buddy Bill, who's actually had real fucking problems and still overcome and can do it.
Listen, we've had this discussion before.
You and your little whiny, everybody's like, oh, I love it when they tell me that, like, oh, yeah, I've got a really fucked up back. Oh, I'm like, oh, really? What happened to you? Yeah, 12 years ago, I herniated my disc. Oh, well, guess what, motherfucker? That heals. Did you know that it fucking heals? You don't have a chronic herniated disc.
You know, Beaveman, right?
20 years ago, I broke a vertebrae. I'm like, really? You know it fucking heals, right? You know that it fucking heals. It's a bone. It fucking heals. I broke a bunch of vertebrae in my fucking thoracic spine. You see me fucking bitching?
Yes.
No, if you
Yes.
You're bitching about others.
Why do you have to go do stuff and make everybody make allowances for you so you can fucking go do it? There's so many other things to go do. Why all of a sudden is it you decided, you know what I'm going to do? I've decided I'm going to be some sort of badass martial artist. But you know what? I'm not going to be able to do that.
You know, did you ever think that might be a wake-up call?
Did
you ever think that might be a wake-up call for them?
What I could do is I could sit over here in the corner and watch you guys do it, and then expect to get my black belt in 2 years, which and then never come back again. And never come back again.
That might be a wake-up call for somebody. Right? How many people have had that life-changing injury or life-changing thing that happens, right? And they think, you know what? Maybe now it's time for me to take up piano.
If you were a potato before, you're probably going to be a potato after your injury. And I'm not talking about the piano. I'm like, you know what I should do? I broke my back and I bitched that I have to be at work for 6 hours and I expect them to make allowances for me. But let me go take up a contact sport and then not do it all. But what is the benefit? So that you can tell people you do it? That's 90% of what it is, in my opinion. 90% of the reason why a lot of people take martial arts is so that they can say dumb shit like, did you know I'm a martial artist?
You know why? I that's okay, really. I took martial arts. I'll give the excuses to be a better person and stay healthier, right? And it's something I've always been interested in.
I'm gonna do martial arts so I can eat ice cream and potato chips.
I would agree. I like potato chips, and this is allowing me to it. You know,
there's another good excuse.
That's
I exercise so I can eat potato chips. No, that's not how it fucking works.
It does work like that.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't work like that because if you exercise and you lose weight, people have this warped idea in their head that they can eat more and eat more junk. That's not true.
No, not eat more, eat junk. I can eat potato chips.
Again, not true. You're eating something that has more calories in it. As you lose weight,
whatever.
as you get in shape, it does not give you carte blanche to eat junk.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Because if I weigh 200 pounds and I walk from my office to the front door, I will burn more calories than if I am 160 pounds and I walk from here to the front door because I'm moving more mass. My calorie requirements actually decrease as my weight decreases. It does not give me the ability or the
I've
need
heard that before.
to have more. Because it's true.
I never said it
Definitely
wasn't.
true. But if you eat your potato chips and ice cream, so how many potato chips do you sit there and you count them out and you eat one serving, or you eat a bag of potato chips?
No, I count them out like one potato chip per hour.
That
Right.
is
Per
such a
hour.
lie.
One.
One potato chip per hour.
And no
Or-
offense. And no offense. So unless you're
Don't
doing
take it so far.
unless
You got to
you're
throw
doing-
that out.
unless you're doing some sort of exercise other than what you're doing in your class, you ain't getting a workout there, buddy. I've seen your classes. You guys do not work out.
I can run it for an hour at like a 9-minute pace and only burn 580 calories. An hour of running, 60 minutes. I'm pretty sure you ate more than that with a bowl of ice cream and some potato chips.
But it fuels me to run.
No.
Yeah.
So I would
it
rather
does.
not eat those potato chips to
'Cause
not
you
have
don't
to
have the
run
right kind.
for 2 hours to burn them off.
And what you just said is erroneous anyway. If you're saying that you're eating to fuel your run, then you're not going to burn the calories that your body already has stored. You just fucked up. You're just burning calories that you ingested. That doesn't help you maintain or get lean muscle mass. You're just burning the calories you just ingested. You're not going to lose any weight or get in shape. That's why you don't eat before you work out.
Well, that's what you say, but So I like potato chips. You're not taking that away from me. Actually,
Oh,
before
but when you come to me later on in life and you're like, hey, you know what, Beaveman, my joints really hurt, and you know what, I'm
do you think I'm going to give you the satisfaction of letting
gaining
you
all this weight,
of me telling you that
Gaining all
my
this
joints
weight.
hurt?
and I say, well, dude, don't you eat shit all the time? Oh, but it's not that.
It's not. It's
Have-
not.
Have you ever? I don't know if you've ever heard too many of the early episodes of my other podcasts that, of course, spurned this one, the Beaveman and the Doc episodes. The Doc used to drink every time we had a podcast. He would bring one of those large Mountain Dews, and he would drink that during the podcast. And I kept saying, "Dude, you're just drinking fucking poison. You're overweight. You're basically he's obese, has lots of medical conditions, health conditions." And I would say, you know how to make your situation a little bit better? Stop drinking Mountain Dew. You drink them multiple per day. And he would say to me, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It
Not the
doesn't.
Mountain Dew. No.
It's not the Mountain Dew. It's not the Mountain Dew. I'm like, no. No, it definitely contributes to inflammation. It contributes to the fact that you can't fucking lose weight. And we'd say, I don't understand why I can't lose weight. Because you drink like 3 Mountain Dews a day. How many calories are in that? It's not like he was drinking the can. He's drinking those giant
1 liter.
20 ounce or whatever. Actually, his were bigger than that.
1 liter. Yeah.
So was he staying healthy then?
No.
You motherfucker! Did you hear what I just said?
I know you just said why was he ingesting so much caffeine though?
It's not about I'm not talking about the caffeine.
Well, if
talking
you're drinking
about-
that much Mountain Dew, usually it's like why people drink a lot of coffee to stay awake. What was he doing?
The caffeine isn't what the concern is. The
It's the-
caffeine is minimal compared to the amount of empty sugar calories you're consuming and the amount of ingredients. And they want to talk about ingredients. Like I said, I'm like, okay, you can't tell me what's in a vaccine. Okay, can you tell me what the majority of those ingredients? Can you tell me and describe to me what those ingredients are on the label of the Mountain Dew? If you can't tell me what they are, other than reading the word, why are you ingesting that?
It glows in the freaking dark. It's like chartreuse yellow. You want to drink that shit? That's nasty.
Whoa, that's a big word, chartreuse.
I don't even know what chartreuse is.
It's a color.
Apparently. Well, my point is, when people make excuses like that, I just say to them, like, okay, you're saying that that's not the cause of it. It's also not helping it. I can wrap my head around, like, if somebody has, well, I've got a heart condition, I've got atrial fibrillation. I'm like, oh, I understand that. But, the Mountain Dew didn't cause it. I didn't say the Mountain Dew caused it. What I'm saying is you aren't helping your situation at all by consuming it. You may have a condition that was caused congenitally, that you were born with. that doesn't mean you should fuel your body with garbage and expect there to be a medicine that they can come up with that's going to cure all your symptoms for you when you could do something to help your fucking self. I'm not some fucking health nut, but I know that if I consume
you're
something,
a health nut. Let's not kid ourselves. You're a health nut.
I'm not. No, I'm not. How am I a health nut? In what way am I a health nut? I don't eat like a ton of fruits and vegetables. I primarily eat meat and nuts. That's my basic diet.
Yeah, well, that's actually a healthy diet.
But then he likes Reese's cups or.
Well, let's face it. The Beaveman's a nut gobbler, so he likes nuts.
I do.
So he likes that, and then you
I
need
like meat too. I like nuts and meat.
There you go.
You missed out on
and tacos.
And tacos.
I prefer tacos. I do prefer tacos.
I have to say this though, with the Swan, having her diet, because I watched you switch out your diet, you've inspired me to eat a lot better than what I do. Because now I don't eat pizza crust too often, but I eat cauliflower pizza crust. Right. So I eat a lot healthier than I let on. I really do. However, when I was training for Showdown, right?
God, seriously.
No, seriously.
Fuck's sake. I lost weight because I was getting really out of shape while I was training. I noticed that I was sweating and it smelled like bacon, so I decided I had to lose weight if I wanted to be a black belt. And I know I've told this story 100 times before, but just in case you're a brand new listener, I'm a black belt. And before I was a black belt, it took me forever to get to black belt. I was a orange belt longer than anybody in the history of my style.
You know what? You won't let me finish, but I'll say you're right. Okay?
Because everybody's heard this fucking story.
No,
so unless you're a brand new fucking listener.
No, not everybody has heard it. So, but it goes into the excuses. I used to eat a lot of junk, right? And then I thought, you know what? I wanted to be better. So I took ideas from everybody and how to diet sensibly. I did. In fact, the before and after shot. You've seen my license. I look like a fat guy. Then the after.
Was your after shot a money shot?
It was a hell of a money shot. But people said, are you still going to diet after you get Showdown? I said, I'm not going to really do that much dieting. I'm not going to train that much harder. I'm just going to back off and I'm going to enjoy potato chips and fucking ice cream because I like it. I gave that all up and I thought, you know what? I want to go back to it, but not that much. So, moderation. But my excuse for giving it all up was because I was training, and it did help me train a lot better. I got my, I could run a 5K in about 33 minutes. I could do push-ups. I could do sit-ups. I could breathe a lot easier, right? And the Swan, I watched her redo her diet, and I thought, you know what? Let's go and see what she has for me to offer, right? So there we go. So it helped me. Just, pat yourself on the back there. It's good, right? So is it good for a lot of people? No, but am I going to give up a lot of the food I like? If I have an excuse to, no, I'm not. However, I'm going to back off of it. So maybe your friend should just back off of that instead of consuming like 4 Mountain Dews, maybe 3.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't care anymore. What I don't want, and the point is this: why bitch to people if you don't want to hear what they have to say? People only want to hear what they want to hear. If you say to me that you have all these problems, and I say to you, hey, dude, you know what? Stop drinking Mountain Dew. That would help. But you argue with me that has nothing to do with it. Don't bring up the topic to me. That's the problem, is people want to bitch to you about stuff, but they don't want to hear how to fix stuff, and they just naturally assume that you're wrong. If somebody tells you they're short of breath walking to the mailbox and they smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, and you say to them, maybe you should back off on the smoking, and their immediate thing they say to you is, well, it doesn't have anything to do with smoking. Like, why do you think it has nothing to do with smoking? Don't bitch to somebody, and literally, when you bitch to somebody, and you are asking them for a response. People don't want to hear a response if it has anything to do with changing them, or there's a way that they could alter what they do in order to make their situation better. I don't sit there and say, if I start hurting, if I drink, let's say I have a couple of drinks of, the Captain, which I love. If I have the Captain and some diet soda, and later on that night, my neck starts to hurt, if I looked to the Swan and I said, my neck hurts, and she said to me, it's probably because you had 2 drinks tonight of your Captain Morgan, I'm not going to say, oh, that has nothing to do with it, because I know she's right. That's
Why would
what
that
happens.
affect your neck?
Everybody's affected differently by the things that they consume. If I consume too much alcohol, my muscles in my neck hurt.
Okay.
And it depends on what alcohol I consume. That's why I don't drink beer. I drink very little wine. I only drink liquor. If I drink beer, it actually makes me feel itchy. It makes my face itch, makes my eyes water, my nose run. So I don't drink beer because I know that my body's having an abnormal reaction to it. That's why I only drink liquor. But if I drink too much, my neck hurts. That means I am in tune with what happens to my body by the things that I consume. But most people will eat around it, drink around it, and say, well, that doesn't have anything to do with it. Really? Because you didn't have that problem before. You didn't injure yourself. You didn't strain yourself. Nothing changed tonight except you had 3 drinks instead of 1. And now your neck hurts. See the writing on the wall for what it is.
But people want to make an excuse for it so they can do around it. Or they want to get people on their same bandwagon and then they can bitch together about it. That's another good an excuse.
That is a good excuse. Yeah, where people, and in fact, you see that today right now in our political arena. People are
I don't want to
bitching
be political. Political's stupid.
I
Let's not
agree,
even
but
talk about political. Let's talk about why you don't want to give up your ice cream even though you know it's bad for you. Even though we're telling you it's bad for you,
Okay,
you're telling us
you know
you're
what?
going to eat it
Because
anyway
the
because
Beav-
it's bad for you.
here's a national debate that a buddy of mine, right, and I had an argument over, right? And because you brought this item up, which is better for you, Reese's Cups or ice cream?
I'm pretty sure it's probably what individually. Neither one of them are good,
I
but
would say
does
that it depends on what brand of ice cream.
It doesn't
and-
matter. We'll say whatever.
No,
it does.
It actually does matter. If you're talking about, and it goes with flavor too, I would say in general, depending, most of the time, ice cream serving compared to a Reese's Cup serving would be more healthy for you.
unless you're lactose intolerant, and then ice cream isn't better for you.
But by ingredients of what it's made,
Right.
generally speaking, there's going to be probably more ingredients and fake food in a Reese's peanut butter cup than is in a ice cream.
Agree.
Okay, because that caused a national debate argument, and that's what a debate is, over which was better or more healthier for you. And I personally think that they're both great for you because one contains peanut butter and the other one, I'm not lactose intolerant, but I do like ice cream. So I didn't know which
It has
one was
milk
better.
in it.
Well, milk can be good for you.
I was arguing your point. I'm like,
Okay.
it has dairy, and that's good for me. Not really. So,
Mhm.
do you have your excuse, Beaveman? Like, or are we done with that horse? Because no one even really talked about it.
No, I went with my excuses, and now we're an hour and 19 minutes in, and I usually like to wrap it up at an hour and 15 so that people don't think it is going too long.
Okay.
And so before I'm done, let me just say my shameless promotion for different products that I like. 1, I'm wearing them now. Ronz, when will you be submitting your thigh pictures for the website and for Facebook and Instagram?
I don't know if I will, but if you need me to, I will.
Well, that is a plan for the Slaptail Squad to all submit their pictures of their thighs in their various shorty shorts. I will be wearing my Sungas, and you can check out the Sungas at Sunga Life. You can find them on Instagram because I'm wearing my silkies today, my camouflage ones. These are actually, I think,
You are
What do they call
in
the
love with
feature ones?
these.
They're comfy.
They're super comfy, Rons. That's why you got to get yourself a pair and check them out. If you're a Sunga Life, the owner, and you listen to our podcast, which I'm sure you don't, you should really send a pair to the Ron so he can feel them on his junk. Super, super comfortable. And no longer shall we be subjective to hiding our thighs, Ron. Skies out, thighs out. And I'm going to copyright that phrase. As a matter of fact, I was working out the other day, and one of the people that I work out with, and I will hate to say this was at a martial arts class, he came out and jokingly said to me, Beaveman, put some pants on, because I was wearing my silkies. And I said, absolutely not. No longer will I cover these thighs. Behold me in all my glory is what I should have said, because that's truly what it is. I would also like to say thank you, Grunt Style, for your awesome t-shirts. So you can check out Grunt Style for their really killer t-shirts, super comfy. Unfortunately, I have toxic sweat, and depending on what type of dye or material t-shirts are made out of, my sweat bleaches out the t-shirts. I bought 4 t-shirts from Grunt Style.
I've never heard
Super
of that
comfy.
before.
Super comfy. Oh yeah,
You can Google it.
Google it.
That's
And
well, you can Google anything. It doesn't make it
bleached out.
true.
It bleached out 3 of the t-shirts that I got from them. I'm very sad. Thankfully, though, Grunt Style, they guarantee their t-shirts for life. I contacted them. It's their beer guarantee. And I'm going to send my t-shirts back to them for replacements. The downside is I probably won't even wear the shirts unless it's wintertime, and then maybe I'll get a compression shirt to wear under them so that my sweat doesn't come in contact with them and ruin the beautiful shirts that they have. But thank you anyway, Grunt Style.
Do they sell
I
compression
didn't
shirts?
say I was going to buy their compression shirts, you ding dong. I said never
I
mind.
didn't ask if you were. I said, do they? My God, you don't listen to me.
No, they don't. Did I? Oh my God!
They
No,
might,
you don't.
but we're
fucking
not even
listen.
talking
You
about
don't
their.
fucking listen.
You don't listen. Oh, Jesus.
You don't listen. Nice.
I pretty much figure if you like their shirts, compression shirts would be the way to buy them from. Right? If they sell compression shirts.
But if their compression shirts are made from the same material and dyed the same way, then I'm just going to ruin those ones too.
All right.
If I get a synthetic compression shirt, I will not. Generally speaking, I don't. It's only certain shirts that my sweat will destroy. The shirt I'm wearing right now, I've had for, I'm guessing what, 15 years. I wear it all the time. I sweat in it all the time. Doesn't do anything.
I like some of the slogans. Always fun, sometimes violent. That's you. Your attitude. I like that. Anyway.
And also let us.
Oh, and I don't fucking care. I like that shirt too. That's a good shirt. Go ahead.
And also check out Carrie's Scars and Stripes coffee, or your merch. And
that's at www.facebook.com/carriesbrew.
And you can also look that up as Carrie's Scars and Stripes.now. That's right. She has a new website. Pretty nice website, Ron. Looks yeah. I wish my website looked like this.
I was unaware of that.
You were unaware that she has a nice website, and I wish my website looked this nice?
What do you want me to do to our website? Do you want like a dancing hamster on it or something?
No, you'd have to extract that from your butthole.
Oh, okay. I love how we revert back to the juvenile thing. I can do that.
That is what I do.
That came out so wrong.
That is what the podcast is for. It is for my juvenile outlet in life.
Oh, by the way,
on
our podcast, I know we're running long. However, so I was listening to another podcast, and the person I was listening.
How dare you, sir?
It was Kevin Smith's podcast, or with something.
Yeah, right. With what?
But the person that I was listening with,
he has like 5 podcasts. Which podcast is it?
I forgot which one was. But the person that I was listening with came out and says, "This is pretty boring. I don't like that." I said, "You don't understand. It's not your podcast." And it's like, he looks at me. It's like, what? I said, "This is the way the Slaptail Nation runs the podcast. Our podcast, our rules, our opinions. It doesn't matter, right?
Did you tell him
our way?"
Did you say fuck you?
I told him it's our opinion, our rules, our podcast.
And if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself.
There you go.
There you go. That's how it's done.
The Swan nails it on the head.
And also, before we go, Ronz, I'm going to run some t-shirt ideas by you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's one of them that we definitely would not be able to do.
Why would we be able to do?
Well, I'm sure copyright reasons we'd get sued.
We can change it just a little bit.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
T-shirt idea number 1. Black Laughs Matter.
That was on South Park.
You actually stole that? You said you made that up, Ronz.
I thought I did. I did the research. Unfortunately, I did not.
You suck ass. Now we've all prompted you, and so all that big line going through that one. Ronz did not make that up, listeners.
Okay, how about this one?
Black masks matter?
I was just going to say that.
Ron did say that one. Black masks matter. That's a tongue
I don't know.
Well, anybody could say that.
Okay, well, Black Laughs is out then. Okay, next one. And this is also a tribute to the Ronz.
Thank you.
Slaptail marketing, bitches.
You like that? I like that. You could go with that.
Here's a tribute to me. Did the ladies at JCPenney's tell you that?
Yeah.
No, if we could use JCPenney's because
I
it
don't
might
know.
be.
But
Why
boy,
couldn't
that
you?
would make me
Aren't they
happy.
out of business or bankrupt? So why can't
Yeah, but
you?
it's still a trademark.
Yeah, but didn't they change the name? Didn't it come JCP or Pennies or some shit like that? I don't know.
Well, you got to remember.
Here's a tribute to Swan. If you listen to this podcast, Ronz,
do.
which I don't remember if you did or not. This one is probably my most favorite one. Well, my second favorite one.
Okay.
My twat hurts, and it could be just one word.
Oh, and no, I don't think.
Ooh,
You
didn't
told me
listen to
about
my
that one.
podcast?
Oh, you're gonna have to listen to
go
that
back and
podcast.
listen
You
to
will
that
enjoy
one.
that. You'll enjoy that one.
I will.
And
Okay.
what's interesting is almost all of these are attributed directly to the Rons. This one is, you are just bringing out the mean part in me.
Okay, I like that one.
And finally, the one that I would love to do the most, but I know that we can't. It's not the Mountain Dew.
It's not the Mountain Dew. Well, you're not going to include. Did you know I was a martial artist?
Oh God,
Oh,
that one. Fuck no, that would
with
be
like a
next week.
B horse on that.
No, actually, what I'll probably do is I'll just go on the website and edit it myself and put that as your catchphrase.
No.
Yeah.
But a big shout out to our listeners who have been listening, and I've asked.
Hey, shout out to our listeners who have been
Yeah.
listening.
And I thought I'd mention also
Not our
because
listeners who haven't been listening. No shout out.
so I thought I'd mention Sky from another place I ran into because I said, "What podcast do you listen to?" Then they gave me a one. I said, "Oh, you should listen to this one." And I gave them. It's like, and the person read it, and I'm like, "Yeah." And you might even get to meet us every now and then. It's like, really? And I kind of paraphrased that part, but so I said, "You listen to it." I'll mention. I'll do a big shout out to Sky to you. And then so I did. And a big shout out to Squeegee Snot. If you're listening, we still want you on the air. So
Who were you shouting out to first? I don't understand.
everybody. Sky, who I ran into, Skylar, Squeegee Snot, and anybody else you could think of, and Carrie. And Tim? I
Oh my
don't
God.
know.
Okay. Any of your other personal friends? Anybody out there? And remember, the Rons loves everyone, and everybody equally contributes.
And Skylar?
Everybody gets a medal.
And everybody equally contributes, and
So-
nobody's more important than the other.
So
And
question.
everybody's job is more important than anybody else's. And
So
you
why
there,
did you bring the
You
daughter
there.
into this?
you there, heart surgeon who just performed open heart.
So
I
why
know
did you
that
bring
you
the
just
daughter
need to
into
save that
this?
person's life, and I know that I can't do it. But my job of, inspecting underwear is just as important as yours.
So as
Thank
we
you.
end this podcast, why did you not bring the daughter into this? Because you said she was the perfect liar that could make the perfect excuses.
Well, lying and excuses are two different things.
Well, they go hand in hand, though.
They can. But one is,
So, I love how I got him
one
against
is
the
not
post.
exclusive to the other. All right. Well, I've been trying to wrap this up for the past 15 minutes, but I have to deal with the Rons, which is can be quite nerve-wracking. Despite his talent as a podcaster, he still just doesn't get the point. And last time I talked to him, he said that he was actually going to keep an eye on the clock because he knows what time I try to wrap it up. And yet here we are 15 minutes later. All right. That's it then from me, the Beaveman, saying adios, mooch fuckos.
The Rons, hey, take care, people.
Bye, everyone, from the Swans.
You guys really don't have to say who you are. Not even necessary, but yeah.
Go fuck yourself. There you go.
There's our catchphrase.